So good morning. With that, ladies and gentlemen, members of the AWCA, shall I just say all protocol observed? Good morning and thank you for gracing us with your presence this morning. I think you'll all agree that it's a very pertinent topic that we'll be unpacking this morning. And indeed, we felt that as professionals who have contributed towards the success of those top tiers, as mentioned, in terms of governance and in terms of accounting standards and so forth, what does it mean and what impact can we then have in terms of understanding the success factors in that regard, and also how do we maintain those standards in light of the lessons learned in bringing us to the stage. This morning talks to our third tier in terms of our three-tier strategy as AWCA, which is leadership development. And in essence, part of leadership development is around thought leadership. And this morning, we've been fortunate enough, as Gretel has said, to be graced by pioneers and captains of industry who are willing to engage us as we unpack this topic even further. And, you know, we are, in effect, have the intellectual capital in this room, and we hope we can maximize in terms of what ideas and suggestions can come out of this morning's sessions. So with those words, thank you and welcome.
I have to say it's a pleasure to see so many women here, but I do want to say you should be completely comfortable and feel quite at home at the JSE. We've got about 500 people who work at the JSE today. We're 52% female, 60% black. Of my executives, 7 are women, and my chairman is a woman. So this is a place where skirts abound. But I particularly want to welcome you to the JSE, where we are extremely proud of our World Economic Forum Global Competitiveness ranking as the best regulated market in the world, not in the Southern Hemisphere, not amongst emerging markets, in the world for 5 consecutive years. 5 consecutive years. That's what we can do in this country. And in this regard, I want to make the point that Africa's rising. There's no doubt about it that Africa's time has come, but it does not mean that South Africa gets part of that rising. Let me reflect a little bit on the role of education. To get into the JSE today, you probably have 2 degrees. It is an incredibly difficult thing to be world class. It requires MIPS. That education doesn't start at university. It starts at the very, very youngest ages. It starts before our children even get to school. But of course, it also starts at primary school. And this is where I want to challenge us all. It's all very well to talk about governance, and it's all very well to talk about reporting and to think it's something you inherit and something that belongs to someone else. But we make a difference.
The question of quality of education is still evasive. We keep chasing it as a department, and we cannot do it alone as a Department of Education. We need all stakeholders, we need business, we need corporate, we need NGOs, every expertise that we can garner to address these challenges that are glaring.
Maybe some of the problems are that schools aren't being run well. And as a result of that, they're not able to function properly and to deliver the services which they are created for. So a pilot has been started in terms of assisting schools with their financial management. You might be receiving money, raising money, but is it being used appropriately? Are there proper controls in place? Is there accountability? That type of thing.
Where does AWCA pitch its message that this is a space in which we want to see a measurable change? It may be a perception index, it may be a scientifically measured index, but a commitment of resources there so that this indicator moves. I worry greatly that those leading positions that we currently cherish, that we keep putting resources to holding on to, we face significant risks in the gaps that we are trying to backfill.
Whether we talk about this, whether we talk about the rule book, whether we talk about local government, wherever, it's also about the basics done right. And Dr. Moses, you'll forgive me if I say that we also sit with education where we've got fantastic strategies if we think about it. And we can argue about refinement around those, but it doesn't necessarily translate into a strategic plan that talks to the issues of the day. And if it does, you get things that's not measurable. And if it is measurable, you've got systems that can't collate it.
If we don't have nation building right, we won't compete globally. We won't have a platform of common vision for the country. At school, we must get the maths and the sciences right, but we have to make sure that our schools help us train our children in a way that is much more rich than we were ever exposed to.
Teaching should not be about just giving information or providing knowledge or defining terms. It goes further than that. It should be knowledge acquisition, giving information, yes, but you should make sure that learners understand the concept. Once they understand the concept, they should be able to apply the concept.
Globally, the audit profession is seized with this topic at the moment of professional skepticism. How do we encourage professional skepticism? In the context of education and learning, this is that critical thinking processes. When someone says something to me, how do I reflect on the veracity of that claim?
That we need to get basic things like IT systems, basic disciplines, the showing up in a classroom and teaching, before we even talk about whether you're teaching in the right way. And those are things that go desperately, desperately wrong.
It is about the technical skills, but it's about so much more. And if we, as South Africans, wait for it to be somebody else's role to resolve, it will not resolve itself, and we will all despair and get into the funk, or stay in a funk.
In terms of the, as we call it at SAICA, the nation building of future chartered accountants, you know, SAICA has played a huge role in looking at university, so sort of at school level, but I guess it's been more at university levels and making sure that there is that pipeline of good, strong professionals.